Welcome to our first video about Dreamweaver. All right, so we've learned a lot about HTML and CSS so far. Dreamweaver is very easy to use and very easy to get used to. And we're going to start, as you can see, I've made a folder on my desktop called Dreamweaver Website Sample. So I want you to do the same thing on your own desktop. So here's all the websites that we've been working with. And go ahead and make a new folder. And once you've made that folder, I want you to open it up, and within Dreamweaver Website Sample, I want to put in a new folder called Images. So we're setting up our site structure. Okay, so what I have here then is Dreamweaver Website Sample, and when I look in Dreamweaver Website Sample, I see an Images folder. All right, so we have nothing in there yet, just the folder with the blank Images folder in it yet. All right, next thing we're going to do is start Dreamweaver. So I have the latest version of Dreamweaver as of this recording, which is June 17th, 2018. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start Dreamweaver. All right, so when you start Dreamweaver, as you can see, I've done a lot of work in Dreamweaver. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click Create New. So what can I create that's new? Well, the first thing we're going to create is our index page, our template page that's going to serve as the template for all that is to come. So we're going to use that as our basic structure. So this website is actually going to be about Jaguars, but I'm going to title this page Home. And what do we want? Well, of course we want an HTML5 tag. Now, if we had a CSS file already, we could attach it here, but we're not going to do that yet. We're going to build it from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create. All right, so as you can see, it has given me in 10 lines of code the basic HTML5 skeleton that we need in order to start building our site. All right, so the goodies are this. We can look at this in code view, in split view, which is what I prefer. It shows you a live preview while also showing you the code. Or we can do it in live view. Now, live view, of course, there's nothing in this site yet, but there will be. And we'll probably split, we'll go ahead and go to split view for now so we can see what we're doing. And I can just move this up and down right here. So I'm going to look at half and half on my screen. All right, well, this is called Untitled 1. You can see my title is Home, but we need to save our page. So I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to make sure that I save into that folder that I just created. So it is under Dreamweaver Website Sample. Make sure you're not saving anywhere else. All right, and I am of course going to call it index.html. Okay, nothing on the site yet. All right, guess what we're going to do next? We're going to create a blank CSS file. So I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to choose CSS, and I'm going to click Create. All right, so this is going to be my basic CSS document, which we will fill in and populate as we build this website. So I'm going to do a File, Save As, and I'm going to call this styles.css, and I'm saving it in Dreamweaver Website Sample right in the same folder as index, in the root folder. All right, now, next thing we're going to do is link them together. All right, so Dreamweaver does this for you. It's very simple. I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Attach Style Sheet, and I'm going to browse for that style sheet, and it is on the desktop, Dreamweaver Website Sample. What do you know? There it is, styles.css. So we're going to just go ahead and click Open, and remember we added as a link. We're going to click OK. All right, so I'm going to just save that real quick. All right, so here comes the fun part. So over on the right, we have two panels that are very important. Files is telling us, showing us all of our files. It shows us our site structure. Right now we have these two blank pages in an images folder. And then the other cool thing is our insert panel. So we can insert anything that we want. Absolutely anything. So we're going to start with everything that repeats because of course we're going to use the index page as a template for all of the other pages. So anything that repeats, we're going to put that in the index page. So if I mouse down here, hey look, here are all of the HTML5 main tags. And of course the importance of HTML5 is that it is specific and a browser reads it in a specific way. So I am going to, between the two body tags, first add a header. And a header is the search engine or browser's clue about what your site is about. Our site is about Jaguars. So we can insert that at the insertion point. Notice I could put a class or ID in there right now. I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to do that later. So I'm going to click OK. We're just making the skeleton right now. And it gives me some dummy content. We might put a logo in there, or anything that the browser would read, we would want the browser to read first, or the search engine to read first. So it's going to look at your title of your website. It's going to look at the header content first. Next, of course, we need navigation. All right, so I'm going to put in my navigation there. We're going to populate that in just a minute. And remember what all these are. Main defines the main content of the site. And aside would denote a tangential little something like an image or a pull quote, something that comes alongside the main content in terms of importance. A section, which is, remember, like a newspaper is divided into sections, and within those sections there are articles. So we're going to keep it fairly simple on this site. We're going to use main. So our main content is going to go right here. So our main content, and then we're also going to add, for right now, I'm going to mouse down one more time, and I'm going to add a footer. Okay, so no matter what, all of our pages are going to contain these elements. And although we may add different, say, articles, sections, or asides to the different pages, we're always going to have this skeleton. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And the first thing I'm going to do is do the navigation. All right, so we know the drill. For navigation, we always use an unordered list. All right, so all of that stuff is in here. All of our main tags are in here. So where it says content for new nav tag goes here, I'm just going to click unordered list. And I actually prefer to code the remaining stuff by hand. So, and I'm also going to, at this point, separate out some of the HTML so it just reads a bit easier. So I'm going to move my unordered list down here, my nav link down here. Okay, so within that, I need some list items. And this website's going to be 4 pages. So list item, and I'm just going to go ahead, copy and paste this. Whoops. List item, list item, list item. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save it again. Now, we're next going to put in all the links for all of the pages. Now, I realize that these don't exist yet, but we're creating a template that is going to be the master template for everything that goes on from here. So we want any content that repeats, including in the footer. So we're going to start by populating the navigation, and then we're going to populate the footer. All right, so what goes in our navigation unordered list? You guessed it. It is going to be the venerable ahref tag. See, notice I get some code hints here. Ahref equals, and of course our very first link is always going to be to index.html. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out that tag, and I'm just going to put in the title home, close out the A tag. So here's my nest. List item, link, name, or what shows up on the screen, and you can see that that just went ahead and I preview it right here. Close the A tag, close the list item tag, and that is going to be consistent throughout our entire website. Okay, next up, href. Now we have pages, we're going to put in pages that don't exist. Ahref equals in danger. So we're going to explain why jaguars are in danger. Endangered.html. Close the tag, and then I'm going to type in jaguars are endangered. Okay, and then I'm going to close out that A tag. Okay, same thing in the next list item. So we've got our nest, list item, link, name of the link, close out our link, close out our list item. All right, and I have a extra quotation mark that actually should go right here. So just be mindful of things like that. All right, next, href equals, and this is going to be photos. So I'm going to have a photos tag, photos.html, end quote. Close out the tag, and then I'm going to put the title, which will be pictures. Close out the A tag. Okay, notice it sometimes wants to close out for you. It wants to code it for you. And that's nice sometimes, and honestly, sometimes it's a pain. Okay, and our last page is going to be a resources page. So I'm going to type in ahref equals. Okay, and so because Dreamweaver tries to code for you, you have to check it. So you notice what I just did, I was missing the A tag there. So I'm constantly checking. I'm going to do a once over on the whole page before I start saving it out. Ahref equals, quote, resources.html. Close the tag. Notice it again, sometimes it can just mess up your order a little bit, because it wants to code it for you. And so this is going to be called resources. So we're going to put in lists of resources like the World Wildlife Federation, etc. And we close out the A tag and close out the list item. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save it. Now let's make sure that everything is spelled correctly. And so that because this is going to be the template for our entire site. So home, jaguars are endangered, pictures, resources, all that appears to be spelled correctly. Let's look at my code here. Okay, make sure that my ahref index.html, all of that is spelled correctly. Endangered, photos, and resources. All right, so we don't have any information in there yet. We're going to populate that shortly. But right now, we have the skeleton of our website. So all we need to do to create the rest of the pages is to save this page under the names listed in our navigation. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save it as endanger.html. All right, so I'm going to do File, Save As, endanger.html, making sure I spell that right. Okay, there it is. It keeps them all open, which is nice. File, Save As, photos.html, and our last page is resources. So File, Save As, resources.html. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. All right, so I now have 4 pages, all of which are linked together, and all of which are linked to the same CSS file. All right, so on the index page, I am going to just put in some content for the main that's different. All right, so here I'm going to put main site content, information about jaguars. Okay, save it. Let's go to endanger.html. Under my main tag, I'm just going to put why jaguars are endangered. Save. Go to the Photos page under Main. I'm going to put in pictures of jaguars. Save. And finally, resources. And I'm just going to put in here, learn more about jaguars. Learn more about jaguars. So now we have some content that differentiates each page. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the live view. Okay, so if I click on Home,